What we are reporting on today is what actually moves the price of XRP. Call it a flip of the switch, call it going to the moon, decode a riddle, whatever you want to do. This is what actually moves the price of XRP and starts to build out this XRP ledger ecosystem. While many people are losing faith, losing conviction, they think that this thing's going to be rigged, suppressed, and they're never going to let XRP break out, you're missing what is happening behind the scenes and getting unveiled on a daily basis. That's why we bring you these updates. Without further ado, we're going to get right on into this session where we're going to be asking, is Circle going to be coming to the XRP ledger next? Let's run it up. So getting started off here, we're going to take a look at the markets back down today for Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency space. Bitcoin down to 37,000 right now, but we did clear out to about 36,700 this morning. So back down from up above 38,400 is what we closed out the week on Friday. And over the weekend, we moved back down below 37,000. For Ethereum, still holding 2,000, but back down as well. And XRP back down to 60 cent. So if you're looking for that 60 cent XRP, you got it. We'll be watching this closely this week. Back below 12 cents for Stellar. And the DXY is back up here to start off the markets this morning. Markets opening back up, and we see the DXY up, while our treasury bonds are back down for the 2-year and the 10-year. Okay, oil back up today, went up to about 81 bucks here in the last, this is a 4-hour chart, by the way, all of these charts here. Back above $81 for a brief moment in time, cooling off here once again. We'll be watching that. And we see that silver cooling off from coming all the way up to 24.87, dang near touching that $25 per ounce mark. Gold back above 2,000 this weekend, hanging out up there very nicely. Love to see it. And guys, take advantage of it while you can. While gold's hovering 2,000, while silver's below $25 per ounce, you can go to my website to get linked up with our precious metals dealers. They'll hook it up and get it sent directly to your house or roll over your 401k retirement account. And when you do use our affiliates, it is a way to support the show, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Now for stocks, we see that NVIDIA back up here at about 481. Most recently, NVIDIA went and set that most recent high of about 509, okay? And it cooled off here to finish off the week last week, and we're starting off a new week here. It's kind of a weird trading week for the stock market last week, a short one. They opened up on Friday for like 4 hours and then close it back off. S&P, hanging out here, 4,500. I'm going to show you a prediction coming up on the S&P 500 above 5,000. The most bullish prediction on the S&P. But we're going to take a closer look at that with the Dow Jones back above 35,000 here over the weekend. And the total cryptocurrency market cap back down to 1.36. And we're bouncing right now to 1.37. We'll be watching that closely. Let's get right on into this update though, folks. We're taking a look at this one. This is the most bullish prediction on the S&P 500. And you guys know how these forecasts work. Most of the time they're talking their book. I think that this is the final push, final leg up that we'll be watching before the equities start to really correct. Deutsche Bank makes the highest S&P 500 forecast on Wall Street and says that it may be too conservative. And so they're predicting the index to reach 5,100. And its strategists say that it may turn out to be conservative. Okay. Now, many targets coming in. RBC, Bank of America have 5,000 targets. And, that's fantastic, right? You want to go achieve that. That's great. I'm going to pull back up this chart because I want to take a look at this. What would this mean? Let me scale this out. I'm just curious to see what kind of move are we talking about if we go up to 5,000? Another 10%. See, this is the problem that I've had with this stock market investment opportunity. I'm not here to give anybody financial advice. You want another 10% to the upside when we're seeing that the stocks and the equities are on pace for a historical correction. 20%, 30% to the downside could easily be done, but you're trying to squeeze another 10% out of it. That's just trying to squeeze too much juice out of the lemon, whatever you want to call it. I mean, come on. You want another 10%. Now, if I have 20, 30% downside risk with XRP, or even with gold and silver are still holding so well, but you get my point. I have 50% downside with XRP. Send XRP to 30 cents. Okay. But what do I have on the upside? I have over, 10x gain potential on the upside with ease. So what do you want? You want 10% or do you want 10x, 1,000% for the same downside risk opportunity. I mean, I really think that it's very close. Your downside risk of 20, 30, even 50%, right? And on the upside, what are we talking about? Another 10% if we do get to that new all-time high for the S&P 500. And when you dig in deeper at what this is, to decode the data, the S&P 500 is up 19%, right? Well, let's take a closer look. Let's dissect. S&P 493, the bottom 493 stocks, are only up 6%. So it's really just been an average year for most of the stocks, but you have the Magnificent Seven that have rode the hype, and they are up 71%. So you would have well outperformed the S&P by just holding the Magnificent Seven individually versus holding the S&P 500, where you only would have got about a 20% gain. And that's because you're weighted with all the other crap that they have in there. And you guys know how overvalued I think the Magnificent Seven are as well, too. Now, right into the data that we get this week to start off, new home sales drop in October to much lower level than expected. So a huge miss on the new home sales just dropped this morning. Sales at 679,000 versus the forecast of 725,000. U.S. new home sales fell 5.6% to a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 679,000 from a revised 719,000 in September, the government reported on Monday. Now, this is key. I'm going to show you why this is so important. The sales in September were initially reported at 759,000. But wait, we revised back down to 719. So we had a miss in September, right? We had a miss in September. And we had another huge miss this month as well, down to 679,000. The median sales price of new houses sold in October dropped to 409,300, down from 422,300 in the prior month, and down 17.6% from the same month last year. So new home sales, which is a very, very key indicator for real estate, if not one of the best, because the builders are really incentivized to move it. And so we're down 17% from the same time last year. That's nearly a crash, right? 20% in the stock is a crash, right? It's a bearish or a bull market. If it's up 20%, that's a bull market. If it's down 20%, that's a crash. That is a bear market by definition. And so we're really close, right? We're at 17.6% from new year. And speaking of incentives, if the builders hadn't been offering all these incentives that they had been, the prices on these homes would have had to drop much more. So you got to consider that. We would have seen way more price reductions on these new homes if they weren't able to do rate buy downs, do, little gifts here and there, little incentives to sweeten the deal. And this is for the first time since 2005, new home prices are set to drop below existing home prices. And this is not going to last for long. The folks that are holding on to those homes, this is not going to last for long. In other words, new will be selling for less than old. That will correct. The median new home price is down to 410,000, while the median existing home is pricing at about 400,000. Why is this happening? 90% of mortgages outstanding currently have an interest rate that is below 5%. They're locked in at sub 5% mortgage rate. They're not going anywhere until they lose their job or they are forced to leave. Many mortgages rates are below the current inflation rate. A mortgage issued in 2020 or 2021 is effectively an asset now, truly historic. Yeah, I mean, it is an asset, but it doesn't pay you. So there's no cash flow. So it doesn't meet my definition of an asset. It doesn't meet Robert Kiyosaki's definition of an asset. If you have some equity there, that's an asset, I guess, the equity, but it's unrealized until you go to sell. And as we've been talking about, you can't go to sell because if you sell off your mortgage rate at 2 or 3%, you're now going to be put into one at 6, 7, 8%. And the price that you're going to have to pay for the home is substantially more as well. So this is very interesting to watch on real estate. I'm expecting this thing to cool off all through the winter. Going to be very cooled off. At a time when typically we're seeing inventory go down, inventory is going up. And if somebody's trying to sell their home right now in the holiday season, that's because they need to, right? And so that's a sign of what is coming. I think there's going to be a flood of inventory hitting the market in the spring. And we'll be watching that to see what happens with rates. If rates do come down a little bit, activity could pick up once again in the spring, but it might not be reflected in prices really going up all that much if we're getting a flood of inventory as well. Now, right on into the crypto update, guys, let's get it. Before the Department of Justice announcement for Binance had a daily volume of 17.8 billion, which has now dropped to around 4.7 billion. So Binance has been effectively killed. It's limping around here, still moving 4.7 billion, but down from 17.8 billion daily volume for Binance. This decline will only continue because they can't easily engage in wash trading anymore, with major regulators now breathing down their back. It won't be long before low buying volume and declining liquidity cause prices to plummet. Well, we woke up to prices going down this morning. This is something to be very careful of and understand that this might be one of the last good buying opportunities. Like, we're in these moments. I would consider, even when we were above 60% 60 cents last week for XRP, these are the last moments, right? Now, you have to be prepared because I do believe that we do get black swan between now and the election. So during that black swan event, it's going to be ugly, it's going to be bad, but it will recover quickly. So try to get your orders in when that crash does occur. But on any pullback right now, consider it a gift, consider it a blessing. I'm not here to tell you what to do or give you financial advice, but that's how I'm viewing all of these pullbacks right now. XRP back below 60 cents. Do I need more XRP? Not really, but sometimes you got to take advantage of a sale, right? So let's keep it rolling. When we look at this situation right now, Truth Labs, Boring Sleuth, huge shout out to one of the best researchers in the community. He says Tether was created after Ethereum's ICO. This is critical to understanding why it came about and by whom. Bitcoin went 7 years without Tether. And look at what it did after Tether came into introduction, right? What did Tether's relationship look like day one? Wouldn't that history, the one void of storytelling, tell us more about Tether's history? I think you'd find their history interesting, and it has been very interesting, right? And it's not that we are, waiting and hanging our hat on Tether has to collapse. We just recognize that it's been a big catalyst for pushing Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the overall cryptocurrency space up. Even XRP has rode that wave as well. But what do we need to build our foundation on next? Well, real sustainable, legit stablecoins, issuers coming to the XRPL. And that's why I asked the question in today's title, is Circle going to be coming to the XRPL next? We look on the one side, we see Tether, fraud, deceptive scheme. That's from the New York Attorney General, by the way. That's not me. That's the New York Attorney General proving in a court that they were running a deceptive and fraudulent scheme. And no one still has seen their reserves. And the reports that we're getting now is that they're actually denying large, not issuers, folks that are trying to redeem. They're actually blocking and stopping large redemptions of their Tether right now. That's the reports that we're seeing. On the flip side, what are we seeing with Circle? Well, doubling down on legitimate business activity over here with Circle. Circle and SBI Holdings are joining forces to boost USDC circulation and transform the financial landscape in Japan with USDC and Web3 services. This partnership signifies a major leap in digital asset innovation and a strategic expansion for USDC in Asia. This is absolutely massive. Let's take a look at this article right here from Circle. So this was released just yesterday, basically over the last night. SBI Holdings partners with Circle to pioneer digital currency innovation in Japan with USDC banking and Web3 services. You guys already know the deal. SBI, huge partner with Ripple. And what we see right now, as of 17 November 2023, there's been over 12.7 trillion of on-chain USDC transactions. This is what we need. So we need issuers like Circle coming to the XRPL. And this is the comments from the CEOs, from Jeremy Allaire. Our partnership with SBI Holdings represents a shared vision for the future of digital currency and is a significant milestone in Circle's expansion plans in Japan and the Asia Pacific. We are excited to collaborate with SBI towards setting new standards in the financial sector in Japan. Here's the CEO of SBI, Yoshitaka Kitao. Quote, Japan is steadily preparing the groundwork for a full-scale introduction of stablecoins, such as through the Revised Payment Services Act implemented in June of 2023. Under such circumstances, we are very pleased to have signed a basic agreement for comprehensive business alliance with Circle, which manages and issues USDC, a stablecoin with a market cap of nearly 4 trillion yen and used globally in more than 190 countries, and have taken the first step toward widespread adoption of stablecoins in Japan. SBI Group is committed to wholeheartedly working towards realizing new financial possibilities using stablecoins, said Yoshitaka Kitao, Representative Director, Chairman, President, and CEO of SBI Holdings. Now, if you recall, let's take a look. We did have a speaker from Circle, the Vice President of the MENA region, that's Middle East, North Africa, Miriam Kawan, was speaking at Ripple's Swell Conference just earlier this month. Now, why is this so important? Why is it so important that Circle's partnering up with SBI? It's a glimpse of what's coming, because SBI, we know how much they're invested in the XRP Ledger ecosystem, how much they believe in XRP. Ripple, obviously, SBI is a large shareholder of Ripple. And I've been talking about with the AMM introduction about how what we need is more legitimate issuers like Circle, who are proven that they can be redeemed, are proven that they're backed by cash, by treasury bonds. Do I want to hold the USDC stablecoin as a store of value? No, I don't. Thank you very much. As legit as they seem, we've seen that Jeremy Allaire and Brad Garlinghouse are sitting side by side at the World Economic Forum. They're in the club. But with that being said, I still don't hold the stablecoin. But what I'm excited to see is USDC getting issued on the XRP ledger, and I believe that it's just inevitable. And the caliber of issuers that are going to be coming to the XRP ledger is going to be massive. It's going to be big because you get legitimate players like Circle coming on board, right? You will start to see folks can actually rely on this liquidity solution. And then with the AMM, we're going to have, and I brought up this scenario in the past through all these AMM conversations. I said, you're going to get a group like SBI who's going to issue a digital yen, the Japanese yen, right, in digital version on the XRPL. And then you'll get Circle, which will issue USDC. And then you'll have a corridor there. You'll have a liquidity pool. And that's where that moves to the AMM, settling up with XRP in the most efficient liquidity setting in the world. This is where we're going. So Circle is going to issue USDC. SBI Holdings is going to issue the digital yen. And then you're going to get Tranglo, which will issue the Philippine peso. You're going to get Brazil, Bitso is going to issue the Brazilian currency. And they're going to be legitimate issuers coming to the XRPL. And then after that, they're going to get paired up with all these different liquidity pools, all these different currency pairs, not just cryptocurrency pairs between Bitcoin and XRP, but we're talking about USDC and, Japanese yen with legitimate issuers behind it, issuers that we can trust. See, I could go to the XRPL today and I could say, hey guys, I'm issuing USD on the XRPL and it's fully backed and redeemable. Okay, sure, Zach, prove it. But we have legitimate players that have already moved trillions of dollars of value, have proven their resilience, the sustainable program that they've built out that is backed, that is transparent. It's interesting how Circle and Ripple are both the most transparent companies in the space. And meanwhile, on the other side, Tether, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the rest of the crypto kids, how's the program working out? And this is why I'm so excited. Folks are losing faith right as we're getting some of the biggest announcements. Credify last week, a company, an institution that is choosing to integrate the XRPL without partnering up with Ripple. This is what we're talking about. And next, you're going to see Circle decides to, partner up with Ripple, and they're going to issue USDC on the XRPL. And that's going to be a massive corridor. I mean, shoot, Circle could be the first institution to be using essentially on-demand liquidity in the United States. If they come on board, they issue USDC on the XRPL, and then they fire up that corridor. We see that Ripple's already partnered with Uphold for the US to UK corridor and the US to Europe corridor. That was the big announcement with Uphold. See, those corridors are already on lock now. And now we get to see that volume and that liquidity pick up. And I'll let you guys speculate on what that does to price. Now, final point, guys, this goes so far back. I've never seen this document before. This was shared by the B-Woy 11. Okay. Huge shout out. He says, have you seen this repost? He's responding to Mr. Intuitive. Huge shout out to Mr. I. This is the 2018 International Conference on Identification, Information, and Knowledge in the Internet of Things. This was put out in 2018. Ripple versus Swift, transforming cross-border remittance using blockchain technology. I want you to listen to what they say. I'm just going to skip right to the good part. We conclude that Ripple has all of the advantages over Swift despite some minor issues. In short term, Swift will still take the lead in the remittance market due to the economy of scale. However, in long term, emerging technology, like Ripple, will eventually revolutionize the remittance industry or even other financial systems. As I mentioned over the weekend, we already have derivatives on the XRPL. Every single issued asset or token on the XRPL is, by definition, a derivative. The derivatives are already here, they're coming. And the legitimate issuers like Circle are coming, okay? And as they note in here, not only do they have the advantage, has all of the advantages over Swift, is what they say, direct quote. Ripple has all of the advantages over Swift, despite some minor issues. And I'll tell you what the minor issues are is the off-ramps. It's the last mile. Well, who did they partner up with to fix that? Uphold. And so, like I said, all this is getting lined up. It's getting ready to roll. And what folks miss is they see this announcement and they don't relate it back. They can't connect the dots. That's why you guys come to my show or some of the other folks there that are tying this thing together for you guys. Because this is what the community needs to understand. When an announcement like that's made, you got to see where this goes. You got to see 10 moves ahead. And most folks just look at price action. They're looking at price action today, back down to 60 cents. Even though there's been all these great announcements, even though you get hype about XRP every single day, Zach, price goes down. And I'm in your comment section crying. Well, stop crying. Put your big girl pants on and get ready to rock and roll, because there's a massive amount of liquidity coming this way with legitimate issues as well. And then the bank and institutional partners that Ripple has lined up behind the scenes, when you start to realize how much XRP they've already been allocated, how much XRP they're going to be using, folks, we're not going to be sub $1 forever. Okay. Are we going to $10? Are we going to 50? Are we going to 589? I'm here to find out with you guys. I appreciate everyone for stopping by. And by the way, everything is at my website, zachrector.com. If you can do me a big favor by hitting that, smashing that thumbs up on the way out, I would greatly appreciate that. And I will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all.